people don't remember Uncharted 2 because it looked great for the time. People remember
No.
Uncharted 2 because it did a bunch of cool shit with its characters and its platforming and its action sequences. The game.
Danny, what are you most excited about for releases over the next year in tech? Like, what's something that you're like, I can't wait for this to come out?
Oh, in tech.
In tech, not video games, not music, just like stuff that's on the near horizon.
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Do monitors count? Do monitors count?
Monitors can count, but you have to give me something better than I'm going to buy a monitor. That's like an OLED monitor. I need something with more pizzazz.
One of the monitors that we saw at CES, the like QOLED 4K and 120 hertz refresh rate. I think it was gigabytes, if I'm not mistaken. The one that we saw that was like, this one looks like it could replace my monitor. So the problem I have right now, here's what I'm excited about.
Okay, here's
the problem I have right
about.
now.
It's always freaking. It's always about monitors with this guy.
It's not spicy. It's not spicy. Look, I have a pretty good gaming monitor, but it's like an old, like it's one of the first iterations of like 4K 120 hertz refresh.
Right.
But because it's like a full array backlit, because it's got the dimming zones, it runs hot as shit. Like it heats up my room quickly. It's kind of annoying. And it's like, okay, this isn't that big of a deal for me to like return it or like, figure out something else. I'm like, I just live with it. But that's like a little, not like life-changing thing, but I'm like excited to like, the only reason why I haven't given it up is because it's 4K, HDR, 120 hertz refresh.
Right.
Like it was top of the line when I picked it up in like 2019. It's the Acer Predator. On YouTube, you can see it. It's right behind me. It just runs hot as shit. It just runs so hot. The fans kick up like super high. Even when I'm not watching HDR content, if I'm just gaming, after like 30 minutes, the fan spins up like crazy and it gets really hot. It probably has something to do with the fan itself and like the thermal paste.
I mean, but this is all also just classic you being an early adopter having to deal with stuff like this. Because I feel 100%. Like as someone, you always go latest and greatest, and a lot of the times it's fine, but then sometimes you get these
Sometimes I pay for it, man. Sometimes I pay for it. Yeah.
Okay, so basically that's a long way to say you're excited about monitors that already are for sale. So it's not really anything new.
But they're not for sale. They're not for sale. Those are all new. Like, you can't get them.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Well, then
specifically 4K OLED that's going to solve both of those things. Give me the HDMI 2.1 with the high refresh rate, the variable refresh rate, the 4K, the HDR, and no longer run hot as hell because OLED runs a little bit cooler. Those don't exist until now, basically, until this year.
Okay, fine, fair. Okay.
I answered your question, Spencer.
You did. So my answer is actually what I'm most excited about is if like there is a true consumer level, completely transparent screen situation for something like in the next like 12 months. Like maybe it's not like it's not a cell phone or it's not like a TV because those are all going to be too expensive. But like I don't know, maybe there's like a tablet that comes out that uses it. I know that there was some more announcements of, I think Lenovo's doing like a clear screen, transparent screen laptop. Like it's going to happen. So I know interesting stuff. And I kind of just, I'm hoping that we get a little bit of the future and actually get to look like it, because I feel like there hasn't been a major shift in how tech looks since like TVs went to the wide, like 16:9. as
That's a good
opposed to
point.
like what is it 4-3 or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like
You're trying to go
like
full Tony Stark and Iron Man 2 with his clear phone.
Danny, I'm always trying to go Tony Stark and Iron Man 2 because I think Iron Man 2 is good.
Whoa!
And this is going to be even crazier. I really like Iron Man 3.
What?
I think Iron Man 3 is amazing. I had such a good time watching it.
Did your opinion change in the last couple of years? Okay.
No. I watched it I watched it a couple years ago, really for the first time, like because I think I missed this one in theaters somehow. So I had like seen it like maybe once, but I never saw it in like the best situation. So once I watched it again, I think it was when I had my projector set up. I just one day watched it, and then I like literally walked out of my room, went down to find Christina, and went, I think we were wrong about Iron Man 3. Like just everybody, because I was like, that was sick, dude.
Okay.
I was like, that might have the best turn into Iron Man of all of the Iron Men.
Wow.
In the sense of like, it might have one of my favorite suit get honors.
That's a I feel like this is a pretty big change of heart.
Oh,
for you.
Yeah, because I thought it was bad because the internet, you got to be careful.
I still think Iron Man 3 is bad. I never minded Iron Man 2. I still think Iron Man 3 is bad, but
I think you got to give it another
watched it
shot.
within the last like 2 years, so.
Okay, so maybe you've given it the shots that it deserves. For you.
I've given it like a solid 3 shots.
Yeah.
Like 3 proper.
That's yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So Iron Man 3, you gave it 3 shots. I think that makes sense.
Right, that's fair.
This is the DMGT podcast.
This is the DMGT podcast.
That's Danny.
Yeah.
And I'm Spencer.
Nice.
We're rolling right into good content for you today.
Oh yeah.
We wanted to start with stuff we were looking forward to because I, maybe have some concerns. Maybe we're getting too real on some of these topics. Too intense, too cool.
Go back to just ignoring the real stuff and just think about fun stuff only. I'm with
exactly.
It.
So like, yeah. So just everybody, when we're saying all this not fun stuff, you just think about fun stuff and don't really listen. Like, don't listen to us. Just like kind of tune out. Just keep it going, but like tune out.
So
but we're gonna be talking.
What's our first topic?
Go ahead, Daddy. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
With that, we're kicking things off this week with job cuts at PlayStation. 900 people got laid off, so we're gonna talk about this from a slightly different angle, not just from like this sucks, because obviously it does. We've beat this horse to death in the last year and change. That sucks, but we got to talk about it. TikTok and Universal. That beef is going strong. It's, I thought that Universal would feel some pressure after like a month without TikTok, but they're going strong and they are continuing to beef, man. They're making this very public, which is entertaining. When corporations are like actually arguing in some public decorum, it's funny.
It's
funny.
It's interesting. It's interesting stuff.
Yes, not good, but fun.
Not good. But and then we're bringing it home with one of mine and Danny's favorite topics, fast food. But we're going to be talking about how AIs they're coming for your burgers.
They're coming for our goddamn burgers.
They're coming for our dang burgers.
AI's coming for the burgers. And then
just brutal stuff.
Elden Ring DLC was announced after we recorded. Elden Ring DLC. So we'll talk a little bit. We'll save the video game talk, the hard video game talk, to the back half of this episode. It'll be a little bit more like tech and digital world landscape for heavy. That's going to be episode.
That's what you earn for the rest.
Yes, you earn the fun video game talk because I also have a little bit of a pitch for Spencer to get into Final Fantasy VII, just so Pat doesn't get mad at us. He's like, "Screw you guys!" I'm like, "Pat, I'm gonna get it. I just didn't glaze all over the first remake." Anyways, we'll save that for later. Job cuts at Sony, PlayStation, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, Insomniac, all the studios that make the good games also impacted. A studio has shut down 900 jobs. Spencer, that's crazy. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say that's a lot of people, and that really sucks.
Keeps
And
going.
I'm sorry, it just keeps going. Yeah, it's just there's nothing. I don't. We've talked about it so many different times. This is the crazy thing, though. I'm looking at this is from Engadget. I'm looking at Engadget tracking about 7,000 total job losses in the game industry so far this year, and that's on top of more than 9,000 last year.
We're not even through the month of February yet. 2 months.
We're not even
2 months into the year. We're already going to catch up to last year's totals.
So it's like there's nothing. We don't have anything of much substance to say that a million other people haven't already said. But we were thinking about, like if you just think, if you're playing within the, let's call it the rules, right?
Sure.
Of these huge, mega, super ginormous corporations that own corporations and companies that are bigger than most companies people like work at. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like most people's jobs are probably like less employees than most of the companies that are the sub companies of Sony, which are all these studios. They've gobbled up all these things, right? Like a lot of them have hundreds of people. Like there's just so many people, right? But since this seems to just be what is happening now, even when successes are happening, because Spider-Man 2 pushed 10 million units, and
since their last update at least, so
lost folks. Yeah, like it's like, so basically like one of your hit maker, your hit machine. That's like every time they release something, it's like the biggest selling game of that year, or on the PlayStation side at least usually.
Yeah, and they're on their third PlayStation 5 title. Insomniac in particular is on their third PS5 title.
They've been grinding it out. Like, but I think it's almost like what's happening everywhere that's huge and mega and like conglomerate stuff, like, Disney and like the major studios like HBO Max, Discovery, all of that stuff. Like what you see is people getting taken down. And I think like part of it is because, like always, we get, let's call it, we fall in love with the idea that like this money, this investment money, it'll keep coming forever. And then it gets harder to get that money. And then that's, the situation where like the foresight that it should have been there is just never seemingly there. Because all you have to do, like, it's like, well, what if we didn't only make everyone make like humongous swing and miss games? How many huge budget games in the last like 12 months, 18 months have come out, and you're just like, why did you do this? Like, and like, I'm not saying it's the people's fault that made those games, like, but because they're being asked, make a brand new hit. I need a new IP, or I need this IP to become more valuable again. It's like very inorganic for a lot of it, right?
And you know what's frustrating about that? It's not like they're cranking out new IP, like at least in those three, because we're talking about PlayStation in particular here. It's not like Guerrilla here is the studio with the newest IP in Horizon. Successful franchise in its own right, but it's a relatively newer IP. But Insomniac's not cranking out like new IP. Naughty Dog is not cranking out new IP. It's not like they're even taking these massive like risks, at least at the three major ones. Obviously, some of the other studios, and I'm sure a bunch of the other places they were impacted. I think at a bigger scale, like, if we're just talking about how PlayStation operates and how the gaming industry in general operates,
right?
It's a lot of that. I mean, again, we talked about it again last week. Skull and Bones, Ubisoft. That's not really been successful so far. They're like, this is our first quadruple A game. Why are you saying these things?
Like,
and then it's like, why are we spending 5-10 years developing these games? The idea that Spider-Man 2 cost something like $250 million to make from the this is unfortunately this does come from the Insomniac leaks earlier this year. I didn't look into anything else, but like those were what like is. There was some correlation done there, especially from like the reporting on the layoff side. Like these games are just, they're costing too much money to make at this point. And it's not from a don't pay your labor costs anymore. It's more from like a hey, maybe it's time to trim down some of these ambitions, because then you turn around and you see the success of something like a Pal World, and like we just talked about Helldivers 2 last week. There is success to be had in a more condensed format. I don't want to call it smaller, because it's small is not the right word. It's just in a more condensed and a more targeted gaming experience.
And I think like it's like I think something people can really understand, and we were also talking about Marvel, or I was forcing us to talk about Marvel a little bit.
Yeah.
With Iron Man, like I think like the curve of the Marvel franchise is like a thing you can kind of draw parallels to like this most recent 25 years boon of gaming, like with so much, so it's just getting so much bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and like a $200 million budgeted game went from something that is like that's the most expensive game ever made to like most games cost that much.
Most
like that
AAA
are AAA
big
ass games, right?
Too much.
And it's like the same thing with where you see Marvel, where it started with something that was still big, like the first phase of Marvel eventually got to this is like truly the biggest budget with the Avengers, but up until that, like they were actually like for a blockbuster of that era, like they started modestly priced, like they were more in the AA space for a blockbuster. Like I think the first Iron Man is somewhere like 120 million, right? Like nothing crazy. Same thing with like if you look at what Sony's doing literally with Venom, like they are only giving them like 100 million to 150 million, doing good marketing, as opposed to going, hey, Venom, you were kind of successful. Take $600 million to make this, or whatever insane amount of money. Like it's weird because the same place is showing restraint and not restraint in different ways, right? It's all Sony ultimately.
It's
I know it's not all Sony, but blah blah blah. But it's like it's interesting because the problem with Marvel is as these bets became bigger and bigger, and they tried to kind of make you want it, which I think a lot of the AAA games that haven't done so good the last like couple years, a lot of them were like, we want you to love this because it's something that's new now, and like this would be great if this caught on like a Horizon, like a Last of Us, like
right.
All of those $200 million swings on unproven things, on top of giving the proven things more and more money to make their things bigger and better because they're sequels. And Marvel is literally right there, where now what should be happening for Marvel is give a director $105 million and don't give a shit what they give you. Let them have fun. Let them create a story with some of the characters you own, and then just get out of their way, because if you make 500 million on that, it's better than making $1 billion on something that's like $300 million budget, right? Like with all the marketing upwards of 600 to 700 at that point. Like it's weird because it's like I think creative things show that usually works and like creates a bunch of cool shit. Like I think the mid-budget movie for a moment was kind of back with streaming, but now it seems streaming's going the same way video games are going, where it's just like no, like let's give this spin-off to John Wick spin-off. Let's do like 6 episodes. I don't know. Let's give you $200 million. Give me 95 minutes of TV. Like what?
It's too much. Well, it's like it's happening with TV, like with 8-episode seasons that then take 3 years to get the second season like filmed and produced, and now it's just everyone's trying to, and Dune 2 right now is like it's working out for them, and like there are instances where this works, but like the lessons that like the movie industry there's correlations here with video games that I'm gonna get to learn from like the Avengers was just put a shit ton of A-list celebrities in your movie and that's it. And it's like that's not why Avengers and the MCU really worked. It just kind of happened to build that way. But it started from like the individual small story and like they're self-contained films and stories that then happen to, cascade into this big event. But that should have been like the rarity. This thing took like 15 years to get to, not because it took us that long to make that many movies, because it took us that long to like build up the ethos and the world to it, and then
Right.
boom, that's it. We're gonna go back to square one, which then people didn't like, and like people are mad online
And
that
that's
they're
like,
not
and
as
like,
big.
yeah.
And that's a whole different side of the conversation. But it's similar with the video games now, where basically just Naughty Dog and a Rockstar and from maybe one other studio that I'm like blanking on right now, From Software. And if even From Software's not doing this approach, like Naughty Dog and Red Dead and Rockstar Games are like the exception to the rule here, where like, yeah, let them take a long ass time because they're gonna hit you with a title that only those studios could produce because they're putting so much attention to all the little details, the little things that don't really, when you come down to it, like don't really matter as far as like a video gaming experience or a storytelling experience. But as a whole, it's like, damn, that was cool that they did that. But not everyone can do this.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? I'm gonna even remove Naughty Dog from that. Just Rockstar. And the reason they can do
Yeah.
that is because they maintain Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto Online, and they monetize that live service that people just happen to like because it's like a good loop that enough people
Right,
enjoy
yeah.
that keeps them going for a while. And it's at least it's more of a sustainable model for them in particular. Not everyone can do this. Than like the Call of Duties, where like you're cranking one out every single year and it's just not really hitting, and you're basically just living off of the franchise name at this point.
Yeah.
Where, or like a Madden or a 2K, where it's like, listen, if you play Madden 2K, like go play them because I play sports games, but they are not good video games year over year. Like the improvements that you get there are minuscule. They should just be like every 5-10 years you get like a real
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
you got this new copy. They should just be live service. Anyways, whole different conversation. But it's the same thing. Like, hey, we saw these like AAA titles that are almost movie like, or they have crazy photorealistic immersion and graphics. Let's spend all our resources to make that thing and capture that rather than like why it actually worked. And it's because it was more about the art first, and then it turned into like, oh, just monetize the shit out of this.
Yeah, I think, like it's not, I think it's always about like trying to hit different layers of budget
Yeah.
when it comes to like these types of creative things. Like studios that do really well in games for the long haul are either the Goliaths that just like can't or have not yet done a misstep big enough to crumble, but like
Yeah.
they are always one misstep away. Like that is
I mean,
that, you know what I mean? Like that is the thing about a Naughty Dog, about a Rockstar.
imagine if Naughty Dog released
like,
this multiplayer game and it didn't work out the way they exactly like they basically said. That probably takes out Naughty Dog. It's
Yeah,
crazy to think
yeah,
that
like-
we're maybe like a year removed from that if things go in a different direction in the last couple of months.
right. So it's like those places that are doing it. It's very similar again to like the Marvel, where it's like, oh, they just can't lose. But the thing about anything that is creative is eventually you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too hard to make stuff. Like whatever the stuff is, it's so
Growth
hard
is
to
not
make
infinite.
good stuff.
Growth is not infinite.
It's not. So I think like what I would love to see, and also I think what gamers are like more ready for is like, hey, we're like everyone seems okay with like getting a couple bangers, like maybe one or two per year for your console that are like, these are the huge AAA. That used to be pretty much the standard. Like you would get your big console exclusive, and then you'd probably get one third party big game that was on both.
Yeah.
And like the exclusive was the one that was like why you were one or the other. But other than that, it was like everything was really mid-budget games, and like in a lot of our like gaming timeline.
Yeah, I think this is effectively forcing it. Not so much. Ideally, it's under better circumstances, right? Like it's just like, oh, you know what, we're listening to the gamers. We want smaller games at a quicker rate, and we can do that sustainably without having to lay all these people off. Unfortunately, that's not the case. but I do think that's where we're headed back to, just sheerly out of cost efficiency.
Right, yeah, and I think like
Which
that.
sucks for the employees, and it sucks for the people that work in video gaming. But I
Oh
do
yeah,
think there's if Microsoft and PlayStation approach this correctly, and like Take Two, your big publishers approach this correctly. All right, how do you get to a place where you don't have to deal with all these layoffs? Do these types of layoffs again? Don't overhire. Make slightly smaller games. Make your mid-budget double A games that people are clearly starting to play again, or maybe they always wanted to, just weren't as accessible or weren't
yeah. Well, it's all
as in the forefront. And
well, it's
there you
also
go. And now you could
because
keep making.
yeah, and it's like I think the arms race of graphics is a more narrow market than I think people
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the games with the highest fidelity are also just good games, and it's like the thing that it seems studios, and I'm calling Sony like a studio in the sense of they have
They
a bunch
are,
of studios, but it always seems that the wrong lessons learned. It's like, oh no, the graphics weren't the only thing that anybody was caring about. It's cool, like that's really neat to look at, but it's because this is good to play, and it was made with care. It's not like, I mean, a lot of the flops that happened this last year look really good.
Yeah, Skull and Bones looks solid. Like visually, it looks solid. I mean, there are other games that have done it better, but it looks really good. What's the other one? Immortals of Venom, whatever.
Avium
Avium looks visually stunning.
Looks cool.
Looks cool. But people don't remember Uncharted 2 because it looked great for the time. People remember Uncharted 2 because it did a bunch of cool shit with its characters and its platforming and its action sequences. The game.
Yeah. And like it's just it's tough because we never really know. It's like, why did a game like Immortals of Avium or the other one with the time travel protagonist type of thing, that other one, it was gone so fast, but it was like, it looked like it could be good, and then you're like, wait a second, and that's like, the answer. And it's like, I don't think those were the games that were passionately envisioned by anybody. I think those were the games that they were told to make, and I think that's also the really interesting thing, because you have the Naughty Dogs who like seem to make the game that they get to make the games that they want within a very narrow span of, it's Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's Last of Us is the game you make, but you can do whatever you want with that. Like for your, Last of Us 2 or whatever.
Right.
Like, but then it's like with a lot of these other games where you hear engineers and all the people that get laid off going like, no, like it wasn't a live service game until like 45 minutes before we launched it. You know what I mean? Like, where they're like, no, we didn't, like, none of this was what we were making. It's just what they let us make.
Yeah, it's just what we had to crank out.
It sucks. It sucks. It's like, that's why, give me a 5-year to 10-year wait for a Hollow Knight, if that means that Hollow Knight is made exactly how those people.
Yes, if that's
you know what I mean?
That is the exception to me not wanting to wait 10 years for a game. Is like, no, you're cooking, and I trust you to.
If
cook
this is how you do it sustainably,
and it's driven by the desire to create art. Take your time. So hopefully that's
if you can keep people that work for you between your games. Guess what? That next game you make gonna be easier. Just so you know.
Yeah.
People that know the stuff are usually good at doing the stuff.
But
it's like, I wonder if they're going. I wonder if like,
I don't know.
I wonder if they're going the other way. If we're gonna get off this topic, but if they're like, well, no, guys, hear me out. This is like the boardroom. Okay, what if all of us, Microsoft, it takes two, Sony, we all get on the same page. We lay off every single person that's ever worked on a video game, so that they're desensitized to it. So everybody's laid off at least once. That means the next time we do this again, everyone does a job at another company. Then we lay everybody off again. And another company, they lay off. And now we have people that do 5 jobs for one job. What do you think?
You said we were going to keep this fun, Spencer. And I hate that you're probably right. I hate that you're probably right.
Well, it's like it is a bummer because it's like eventually we all just need money, so we're going to take the jobs. But it sucks, and like people's lives,
and they get
screwed up, and we get and things
people's
get
desire to create art in a video game, like it gets exploited. Speaking of
stuff,
TikTok and Universal,
stalwart protectors of the artist, TikTok and Universal Media Group. I told you it was a bad. I told you not to listen to anybody.
No, I know. It is just funny. I just wanted to point it out real quick that Universal's like, hey, TikTok's not really looking out for the best interests of the artists and the work that they put in for their art and compensating the artists for their art properly. Oh, but don't worry, Spotify totally chill for you to pay us a 1/10 of a penny per stream. That's fine. Most of that's coming our way anyways, not to the artist. That's chill. But TikTok, TikTok bad. TikTok the enemy. Which is doing most of the heavy lifting from the public perception for TikTok. Because TikTok, all they got to do, like, hey, you see, everyone else is chill with it, just you guys. And it's not because you care about the artist's compensation. You just want more money for yourselves, assholes.
It's interesting to see companies publicly beefing so hard. It's weird. And it's not very cool. It's definitely not cool.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's interesting. And I think it's just like it's like, okay, so Universal is like, we love paying our artists money. It's our favorite thing to do, and we were just simply trying, like, from the bottom of our hearts, to make sure that we could give some more money, mostly to Taylor Swift, obviously, but trickle down, so it'll be fine. But then it's like, and then TikTok is like, well, everyone else is fine with it, so you should be too. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. That doesn't sound good either. like where it's like, wait. So everyone else is fine with it, you say. Okay, well then could you show me what everyone else's deals are? And also, how fine are they of it, or do you just have the power here? And it's about everyone's greed at the end of the day.
Yes, it 100. Here's the thing:
you can't. Don't virtue signal. Just if you're a corporation, that's the only. Just be a corporation.
No,
don't pretend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just
all.
continue to take the lickings, because, like, again, Universal's basically doing all the heavy lifting for you from the perception side. That's why perception is different from reality, because TikTok's also doing it out of greed. Like, people are like, no, I'm on TikTok side. Well, you shouldn't be on any of these sides. Like, you should be on the artist side. You should be at whatever is better for the artist. And guess what? Whatever TikTok's deal is with the other big labels, probably not super great for the artist. It's just kind of a result of what we have to do. Look, I think this is effectively the fight against, and why Universal's hankering down so hard, because this feels like this is the third wave of digital media transforming music. It happened with the MP3, it happened with streaming, and now it's happening with social media. Because as recent as like 3 years ago, in 2020, TikTok had like exclusive rights with some little bit of access to music, specifically on our platform. As of 3-4 years ago, if you try to re-upload your TikTok to YouTube Shorts or to YouTube or to any other platform, that shit would get taken down instantly. Mm-hmm. Thanks to our good friend DMCA. Because, hey, you're using my song and those are my rights. I'm taking it down. Because you can only go to my page to listen to this properly,
Mhm.
or wherever it's we made it so it's monetized and the money comes to us, regardless of how you're using the medium. TikTok has changed all of that for better or worse, just like the MP3, just like streaming. For better or worse, they have changed it. Where now YouTube has, hey, you know what? We're gonna let you use some songs now. YouTube Shorts will let you use some songs now. All right, fine. We're gonna like start loosening it up a little bit. What fair use means, even on your long form YouTube videos, they aren't going to get instantly demonetized. You just have to share a portion of your revenue with that section of the video. This is all a direct result of TikTok. And what this
Right.
is the record label seeing this change and saying, "Oh, the revenue isn't exclusively funneled via us anymore, and we don't like it." This is what Universal's doing. I'm not saying this is a good or a bad thing or anything like that in particular, because with streaming and with the access to an infinite library of music, it was harder. As much as it was easier for a smaller artist and
Mhm.
independent artist to get in front of people, now there's like an infinite wave. It leveled the playing field of who can enter the space. Social media sort of made it so like, all right, cool, I'm going to do something creative with my song. It kind of sucks that I have to be like a creative social media person on top of being an artist, but it created that extra avenue where it's like I set myself apart and now people are discovering my music, and they are. Here's the thing about this is that TikTok can point to the numbers, and the numbers do prove it, because anytime a song goes viral, you see those streams go up on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Music, everywhere. People do then turn around, buy tickets to shows,
I mean,
stream the
to
songs.
literally
Yeah,
to the point of people literally making music to hit on TikTok so that they can make better money because it hit on TikTok. Like, it's
yes.
very interesting.
Purely from
With
like
that, yeah.
a logistics stand, like I'm only talking about it from the logistics perspective and not whether or not this is good for art and the medium. Okay, just just so we're clear.
Right. Yeah. I I mean, it's just tough because I'm like, we're just gonna all go back to having to steal everything again, aren't we? Is that just
Yeah.
like, that's just really like what it hits me when all this kind of stuff comes out? I'm like,
Piracy is on the rise for a reason.
man,
Piracy is on the rise for a
I know
reason.
it's getting brutal out here, man. I'm like, man, you know how many movies I buy on Amazon Prime just because I'm like, it's the easiest place for me to find this movie right now, and now it's like $5 more to buy it than rent it. All right. How many copies of Heat do I have to have, Danny? I don't know. I have it on like three streaming services and a Blu-ray.
That was the whole promise of streaming, not just music in
Yeah.
general. Just the whole promise of streaming was like, if you make it easy to access, people will just buy it. That's why piracy went down, because it was easy to access the things that I wanted to watch and listen to. You make that hard again, and I'm not condoning it. But
I'm
it's
just
speaking
saying,
for itself.
the flags have to go. Yeah.
It's speaking for itself. And I'm
Gotta
just a
raise my
stupid
skull and
idiot
bones.
guy here on our podcast here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, hey, y'all do you. We'll do us. And I think, we'll all be fine. But enough on the TikTok and Universal. They've always been. Universal really has been, based on what they said to me just now. But I think the thing that I actually care about, because all the rest of this stuff, take it or leave it. Corpo politics of the biggest companies in the world, or the biggest social media platforms in the world. Too big, I'd say, just generally. Be smaller. But something that I actually do have a lot of passion for is fast food. And there's never and rarely ever been any of the problems we previously discussed on this episode in the fast food sector.
No, not at all.
Flawless victories.
Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
Everyone's chill and happiest, and there's definitely nothing bad to talk about. But the first bad thing ever happened in the fast food game, and that is Wendy's. Unfortunately, one of the ones that some would say is good, is leading the charge in potentially, or trying out, but that just means like this is going to happen. Is going to bring surge style pricing to stores, I believe, in Ohio. It's some, in like their test cities, where if like they did they worked really hard to try to make it seem that it wasn't specifically if more people want to eat our food, it'll be more expensive.
Right.
They've really tried to not say that, but it is exactly that. It's like if there's a big long line in the
that is what
drive-thru,
surge pricing is.
That's literally what surge pricing is. And I think that that's a bad idea, because that's just, you better just put that whole store better be robots, because people are going to lose their minds.
This is what
it's just like, because you hate it with like Uber and Lyft and everything, but they do a really good job making it hard to know how much anything's ever supposed to cost. Because like every time you're like, all right, I want to go like 10 blocks, and you're like, this could be $25, this could be $6, this could be $100. We don't know how much it should be, so it's whatever they put. I know Wendy's has a dollar value menu.
Yes,
you know, like
yes.
I know that a spicy crispy chicken sandwich with no meal attached to it, like $6.49. I know those prices. You can't trick fast food goers. So if you're gonna throw me a $7 burger because the person ahead of me ordered 55 burgers, 55 fries, whatever, like, and then you're like, well, we're rolling in it, let's just like up the demand. Like, I'm going to a different place.
Yes, okay.
And if you all go this route, fast food, I'll probably not need to be on cholesterol medicine.
Oh man! So maybe. Oh, you know what? Corporations are looking out for our best interests after all. No,
I see.
There's a few things with this, okay? Because
I blacked out just
price,
now, Danny. I don't know what I just said.
To the surge prices.
That's how passionate I got. My brain
I agree.
shut down.
Hey, man, don't mess with Spencer's fast food burgers, man. Stupid AI. Just bring the
I believe in
Terminator
nothing,
robots instead.
I believe in nothing, but I believe in 2 a.m. fast food.
Man, Taco Bell saved my time many a 2 a.m. Look, surge pricing works with something like Uber and Lyft because it's getting you from point A to point B faster than the alternative. The alternative being you walk or you take public transit, right? Or you jump on a bike, whatever. Anything that isn't, let me just get in a car and not think about it. Someone's going to drop me off from point A to point B.
Right.
The alternative for you jacking up the price for me while I'm in a line at a fast food joint, at a drive-thru, I drive one street over to the Burger King or the McDonald's because this is how the model for fast food works.
Yeah.
You don't
worry. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't worry about it. It's just quick, easy in and out. And this is not going to work. Like I know for a fact this isn't going to work, and I'm actually shocked that Wendy's is powering through with this. There are other factors outside of just price happening here with McDonald's, but with McDonald's, they literally just said in their recent earnings call, our core demographic stopped buying from us, and we lost a shit ton of money last quarter. We gotta do something about our prices to get back into the core demographic, which is people that make less than $40,000 a year, 40,000 or less a year. Those are that's your core demographic who's hitting you up because it is cheap to go to you and fast, and I don't have to think about it because I'm working 2 jobs. Okay, different. I don't want to go too much into that, but it's already there. The finances are already there, Wendy's. What are you doing?
Yeah,
this is not going to work.
It is. It's
your burger is not good. There is no world that I go, shit. Well, there's no other burger that possibly exists to justify this $10 Dave's single. Get out of here.
But Danny, let me go back into the boardroom really quick and put on my cap of Wendy's, my wig of Wendy's, and go, hey guys, all right, okay. What if surge pricing? No, hear me out. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, hear me out. Popeyes, never change. I will say
correct.
Popeyes
never change. Please.
Your idea is we'll 200% price increase to be in and out in less than 10 minutes. I'll pay double. Like that's your idea, Popeyes. You work on that, but everyone else, okay. what if I do surge pricing just to give everybody a taste of what that feels like? I'm going to take a lot of heat for it. All right, I'll do it. McDonald's, you just opened the fully autonomous McDonald's in Texas, so I know that pissed people off. I'll take the surge pricing hit, but then all of us have it. Think about that. We already do it kind of in the food apps. You know how it's like 25% more expensive
on the food app
via Uber Eats, and you cancel it when when you do it through your app, our apps. Just cancel that order, so you have to go through Uber, so we get that extra money. Yeah, we'll just do that, but I'll take the hit. Like it's like, but anything like this, it's going to come around in some way somehow.
It's not, but it's not, it's not because these are one of the few instances where I'm like, okay, look, capitalism, many flaws. This is one of the few instances where I'm like, Wendy's, McDonald's, y'all aren't that special. People will stop eating at your establishments, just straight up, because and here's the thing, this isn't a crazy thing, Spencer. The earnings call from like a couple of weeks ago for McDonald's just came out and said that their numbers were down. Like, hey, we overextended our prices and we lost money because of it. We raised prices and we lost money. They aren't coming.
But what if
this isn't water? This isn't Disney that owns all of it. That's the thing.
But
there's a corner store. People will start going to gas stations. Look, because being that person that's like, oh, I got exactly $1.20 in my bank account, and that's just enough for that dollar McDouble that's gonna cost me $1.19. I'm gonna get me that McDouble. When that's no longer an option, that extra money doesn't come out of nowhere. I just go to the gas station, like, okay, these bags of chips will do this time instead.
This is true. When you're like, it's very crazy. Crazy.
And who are you going after? You're going to go after middle America, who can already afford not a shit burger, who already has more time. I mean, look, hold on. With that, like, I know middle America doesn't really work, doesn't exist, yada yada. But they're not. I'm not. If you charge me double for a Dave's Double right now, cool. I'm not ordering. I'm not going to Wendy's anymore. Just straight up.
Yeah.
Because it's not that good. It's not worth it. I will wait twice as long at the Junior Hot, Red Hot. Obviously, we're in Chicago. It's a little bit of a different situation here because we have the luxury of choice.
I think that's the thing. Like, I don't think the urban fast food one is like where this is like there is more options here, but that is not everywhere. Like, like my hometown, there was like 4 restaurants, and then of the 4 restaurants, but then like 6 fast food places. So like there is places where it's like there isn't really a ton of choice if you need some food right now, right? And like you could go to a 7-Eleven, sure, and get like pizza, but like if you want to feed a family, like fast food, that is the one thing that they have is known quantity, convenience, quickness, right?
You're removing known quantity.
What they're doing is they're betting, or they're seeing if the bet will hit of, as long as it's still fast, simple, and repeatable, what if price isn't as important as long as we keep those? It's basically they're just testing the waters to see like what's the limit we can push this.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not even giving them the space for this, Spencer, because again, the numbers are already there from the biggest place, the fast food joints in the world.
Oh yeah. I mean, I deeply disagree with this, and I hate that they're doing it. But
I'm like
trying to figure out. I'm just really. I'm trying to
work.
I'm trying to walk a mile in their shoes. I'm just trying to make it like, how could this be like?
We're trying to rationalize how someone with a functioning brain came to this conclusion. I get it. Because otherwise, it's just baffling. It's baffling.
Yeah. It's just really tough because overall, Wendy's is already not doing super good right now. Just in general, like they're all over the place.
Lily sent me that article earlier today, and she's like, "Oh, you see this? Surge pricing at Wendy's is dumb." I was like, "Oh, cool. I guess the spicy chicken sandwich at Wendy's is no longer my favorite. Like in a heartbeat, I made that decision.
Yeah. I mean, like since they really have, they've always been a little bit more expensive with like their main stuff, not their like their value menu is good, but it's
dumb. It's dumb.
I will say though,
we
Popeyes,
are passionate about.
I know. I will say though. Popeyes though, you keep that idea I gave you. If you give me a fast pass line, like if it's like a monthly fee card, but it's like a guarantee that I can just have that chicken that's right behind you, you know, because every time you're in a Popeyes, the chicken is right there.
Have you been to the Popeyes on Damon and Diversity?
Yes, but I also lived by Lawrence, the Lawrence and Kimball one.
We went through the drive-through the other day at that one. In and out in less than 5, less than 10, less than 10.
Wow, it's tough. I mean, I don't mind it once you get it. Yeah, it's
flabbergasted.
And
it was cooked properly.
I mean,
it was great. Now I will say it gave me a little bit of a tummy ache, so maybe something else happened there. But whatever.
That's the price you pay. That's the real surge pricing.
Spencer, let's give the people what they came for. Let's talk about the actual video games, baby.
Okay. Danny, we only have a couple months and then we get to play Elden Ring again. Or are you talking about Final Fantasy VII?
No, let's start. No, I was going to start with Elden Ring first. Yeah.
I'm very excited and I'm a little scared to get back into it, to be honest. Because I've like been toying with a bunch of FromSoft games. The last Sekiro was the cheapest I had seen it for a long time, so I grabbed it and like I'll start it and then like I can't. I can't right now. Or like I'll do like Blue Point's remake of Dark Souls or Demon Souls and I'm like no, don't. And then I'll flirt with like putting Elden Ring back on and I'm like you can't. You're already playing too many video games. So I'm a little like concerned that it's happening because it sounds like it's another whole game.
The concern comes from a place of this is about to consume us again.
Yeah.
And also it's a stressful consumption.
Yeah.
It's like a whole that I'm like this is going to be
a mental journey. It's a mental journey.
It's gonna be tough. But once I start, it's just
I have to finish it.
And I have to finish
it's gonna
it. I'm excited. I am excited.
I'm so excited. I'm super excited.
It's crazy to me because Elden Ring, after it's been a couple of years now, and like after like letting that simmer for a couple of years, I'm like, no, this was still truly a top 5 gaming experience in my life. Finishing and playing through Elden Ring.
Yeah. Easily.
And I thought that would go away after a little while because I did start a second file and I played like halfway through it before I was like I put it down. I was like I'm going to move on to other stuff now. But we're talking like 150 hours minimum.
I think I have I have like 200 hours in that game.
So it's a shit ton.
Because I was so bad at it initially that I just had to kill that damn bird for so many hours, man. Just killing that bird and all those roly-poly guys.
Once it clicked and once I like really figured out the mechanics and the stats and everything, like, oh man, this is working. But I was like, okay, top 5, like most of the games in like my personal top 20, I will even casually like pick it back up, play it, even if I don't finish it, like I'll pick it back up. Just to like get the feeling again, and then like, all right, cool, I'm satisfied, satiated, I can put it away again.
Right.
Elden Ring has not been one of those, and I think it's because it requires so much of a mental space focus for gamers like you and me. It sounds like the Soulsborne true
there's people that just haven't stopped playing it. They literally have not stopped playing
because you can't pull them out.
The Let Me Solo guy he's literally like, I might stop.
I might have to stop
when this comes out. I think that might be when I stop doing this. And my first thought was, you're still doing that?
Yeah, crazy. FromSoft fans and just like true Soulsborne
they're
hardcore,
a different
a
group of
different
people.
breed, man. Different.
Like what?
For better
Like
and worse.
oh yeah. Oh man. It's like it's incredible. That like that's like nowhere in any of the articles that I read about the Let Me Solo Him Her guy did they say like, and yeah, he's still been doing it. They're just like, hey, Let Me Solo Her guy is saying maybe he's done letting me solo her. And I'm like,
and
no,
they
that's
all
not
just
the
like
story
it
here.
was just like matter of fact. It's just like matter
Yeah,
of
it's like,
fact.
no. I want you to do like a 2.5 hour documentary on
Yes,
that man,
on
that person.
that
I don't
guy.
even know
Yeah,
if it's
on
a
that
man.
person. Yeah,
I got
you're
no
right.
idea.
It's just done this
no
gamer.
idea.
But I know that this
couldn't-
DLC is going to it's going to hit. I know it's going to. It's basically.
Did you see?
It's basically
Did you
a sequel.
Did you see that they're like, oh yeah, I don't know, we might fuck around and add some Sekiro mechanics. I don't know. Like that was something I saw today where it's like, oops,
That's
maybe. Who knows? I don't know which part of it, but maybe.
It's the
Like they seem like it's. Oh boy, because I will say, in the trailer, for the announcement, the combat, I was like, some of that combat, I was like, that looks very fluid, a little bit more than what it did
than the base game. Yes.
Right, and I'm like, so are you guys actually throwing a little bit more like sugar and spice at us, like a Sekiro, like a Bloodborne, where it's like giving you a little bit more of a stylized.
They're adding way more like combat styles. The one that sticks out to me the most is the they had like a fist hand to hand, like almost kung fu style like sequence where dude's like throwing a bunch of punches and then roundhouse kicks like in quick succession. It almost felt like an arcade game. I was like,
yeah,
that's intense. And if it works well like that, which I'm sure it will, this almost changes the game. It almost changes the mechanics entirely because it plays differently. Fluidity like that it moves quick, man. Because again, the damn steeds, Elden Ring, still the best horses in any video game. Turn on a dime. That's how they should work. If you add that fluidity to the combat and the combos and the sequences and stuff, oh my god, it's gonna be
And
they're like, they're adding. He said they're adding one boss that is going to be harder than Melania.
Yeah, I mean
that one was already terrifying, and it's for sure
like,
has to be an optional one because
most of my playtime towards the end was just killing that big bird because I just was like, well, can't beat him still. Then I would go back, kill the bird for a couple hours, go back and go, nope, I still suck the same amount at this game. And then it just gets to a point where you're so overpowered that then you barely sweat by. And then you go to the next thing, you're like, fuck. So I've gotten better at these games since Elden Ring because I have played some of them. But that first, that was where we started, you know? Like that's where, like I had never played any of them when it came out. So I'm excited to go back now that I've played a couple of the other ones.
It is premature for this conversation. But considering the likely size of this, because this is $40, which likely means that it's going to be biggest DLC from FromSoft ever, which means it's probably going to be like minimum 50% of the size of Elden Ring, which is already way bigger than everything else.
It's way bigger than it literally needed to be. like so much optional content.
The Shadow of the Earth Tree get a nod for Game of the Year nomination.
Know. I think it could.
That's a conversation. I don't know. Do we have to create a category for it? I don't know.
Because it seems like it's going to be basically a full game. Yeah, it's very.
If it's practically a sequel,
Danny,
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Elevator pitch me on why I should get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth so that we can tell Pat the next time we see him. I think he is currently drilling to the center of the earth.
Something like that. And
I think something like that. He's always so busy.
He's always drilling something. He was on
He's
the moon
drilling, I don't know. Yeah.
He's actually an astronaut. Look, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let me paint it this way. A lot of the story tropes on like video game character that's a main character that's in video games in particular, not in any storytelling medium, just in video games in particular, uh, do get their roots from the way that Final Fantasy VII, the original, did it. But that's without like spoiling things, but obviously that's a little bit of a spoiler if you aren't familiar with the story. But it was a very sprawling. It was one of the very first big hits on the PlayStation that was like very clearly like, oh no, this is straight up anti-capitalist. This is giving you an anti-capitalist message as a whole, like the story. And then we're throwing in a bunch of fantastical shit, but really the undertones are like capitalism is ruining the planet. And this is way back in 1997, right? So this is painting the picture there. This game on the PS1, 3 discs. Remember when you had multiple discs for your
Yes,
video games?
Yeah.
This was one of those. The first
three-discer.
the first section of the game, and I always forget this, was so massive that by the time you get into the open world and like start exploring the planet and the stuff, you're in the second disc. And
That's
then
crazy.
there's so much shit to do there that by the end game stuff, you swap to the third disc.
Tough stuff.
Massive. It was, I remember being a kid and seeing that for the first, like, what the hell? 3 discs? I gotta play this. This is crazy. It's the biggest shit ever. And I always forget that fact. And I was like, okay, this is why this remake is taking so long, because it was effectively like 4 games.
Right.
For modern games that we get today. But back then it was just like one super long one. Smaller scale, smaller graphics, all of that. No voice acting, yada yada. They've improved the combat, so it's not like turn-based like it was back then, but they still have like some of the RPG elements of like adding stats and this and that. Voice acting, very strong. Music, always very strong. Visually, very strong. And Tifa is a very attractive video game character, and she gets to be your companion for most of the game. So boom, that's another little tidbit for you there. And you should play this game.
Okay, learned something I didn't need to. Didn't help with the sell.
It's a sales pitch, okay? No, it's they definitely do some of the annoying RPG anime things with like women and like the overt sexualization of it sometimes. It is annoying, I will say, sometimes. But this one doesn't take it over the top too much. But the voice acting is very good. It looks very good. And yeah, look, I would be more interested to get your perspective, because there's a not zero possibility that you come out hating this game. And I would love to hear thoughts of one Spencer being like, yeah, the most popular Final Fantasy game ever, this shit sucks. And I would like to hear those thoughts. And then maybe you like it. But what if you like it?
So I did download the demo, Danny.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot I told you to do that.
And I started to play the demo. And then I stopped and deleted the demo about 20 minutes in, because I was like, nope, didn't work. So I mean, it's gonna, like, it just, there's so much to get into with it.
It is.
That it's hard for me to even consider. Because if I like this game, Danny, let's say, this big ass game.
Yeah.
You're telling me that I have to go play another game that's the beginning of this game?
The thing is, you wouldn't be.
So then to play this game, should I go play the other one? So you're telling me to play 2 games?
Yeah.
To have one game that is, you know what I mean? Like, it seems
the first
like
one.
a
Skip
long
the first
walk.
one.
But
Skip
then
the
that
first
doesn't
one.
make any sense, because then if I like it, I'll go back anyways.
Watch.
So then now I'm
here. The move here is because, by the way, the early reviews for this, it's still sitting at like a 94 on Metacritic or something like that.
Yeah, very, very good.
This would be the highest rated Final Fantasy ever, in a while, in like 15 years, literally. So it's already getting like actually good reviews. So like across the board, some pretty strong reviews from YouTubers that we watch and are, generally in line. All sorts of people. Strong reviews. I saw one of the Wall Street Journal game journalist was like, yeah, this is the PlayStation 5 seller. I was like, wow, Final Fantasy is a hard pitch for general audiences, for people that aren't already in the JRPG. Final Fantasy
and that's
space.
me. It's me.
And I'm like, nothing in this review is telling me that convinces the casual, I'd say. But that raving review, I think, is at least like maybe the part of it what helps. Just the fact that people are saying that, like, hey, this should branch out to new audiences. So it's getting strong reviews. We've been talking about like, okay, where's the big hitters on the PlayStation 5? And just technically it's just a timed exclusive. So it doesn't really count. But also, if we're looking for that big PlayStation 5 hitter, this is probably the one for this year. Or this is it for this year. And if you're going to go in blind, you at minimum have to watch like a recap video, which are the worst, but you have to watch a recap video.
They're a bummer.
Online. Play this game, and then if you do like it, you go back and play the first part, because this is going to be a 3-part remake.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll give the demo another try.
I will say this. If you can commit to it, the DMGT will cover your copy of the game.
Well, I don't know if even I can commit to that just yet.
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know if I can get there. Let me get through the demo. We'll check in. We'll check in.
There you go.
Because it's not.
I did my part.
It's not one of the things where I think that they're not good. I just don't know if they're for me.
No, that would be totally fair.
That's all. It's not. I've never thought about the quality of them. I just always look at them and go, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and I cannot. Here's the thing. I cannot do the Baldur's Gate thing with you with this one. And I'm not even going to try. So I would say if you just came back and said, no, thank you. Where it's like, Spencer, just fucking play this game.
Yeah.
Get this
like
game.
That, yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not there with Final Fantasy. Because
Pat
is,
it seems.
Pat
does
is.
seem Pat is. Yeah.
Pat, I'm sorry, but you're kind of a weeb when it comes to Final Fantasy.
Ooh, and hey, that's been our episode.
I'm sorry. Enjoy your drilling to the center of the earth.
Yeah, the center of the earth.